Welcome to the third episode of the G-Spot. Appreciate y'all, man, tuning in once again. And I just want to say again, I appreciate all the feedback that I'm getting from everybody, the comments on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, everything, texts, phone calls, man. Y'all don't know how much that mean to me, that y'all giving me all this feedback and, the support from family and friends and people that don't even really know me. Just keep them coming, man. And I want to give y'all a little more consistency with the show. I kind of want to start doing it 2 days a week. I haven't really decided what 2 days is going to be, but I promise to give y'all more consistency. A lot of people been saying, well, man, you're only doing one show a week and this and this and this, and we want you to do it more. So, I promise some people that I'm going to start doing it at least 2 days a week. I'm going to let y'all know at a later date what 2 days is going to be so I can have more consistency for my followers and things like that. I want to start the show talking about the Saints once again. They made another splash with the Kenny Steele trade to the Miami Dolphins that they traded in for a third-round pick and Danielle Ellaby. I was kind of surprised by this trade, being that Kenny Steele is such a young receiver and he had so much promise and so much upside. It really shocked me that they let him go. But for what we got in return, I mean, you really couldn't pass this up. They got a third-round pick and you got a starting middle linebacker to fill that void after releasing Curtis Lofton. So this was a great trade once again by Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton. I mean, I don't know how they pulling some of these deals off because we are getting a better end of the trade in all of these trades. I mean, from a business standpoint and from a value standpoint. I mean, you get so much value from a third-round pick. And, Kenny Steele is a fifth-round pick. So that just go to show you, with how the Saints evaluate and they scouting department, these picks that we getting is big time for us. So I think this is going to pay dividends in the end. When y'all see, especially with the fact that I think the Saints got they got 7 picks in the top 80 of the draft. 7 picks in the top 80 of the draft. That means we gonna have 7 players in the top 80 that's like unheard of. You know what I'm saying? And when you got 7 players in the top 80, this 7 players, I promise you, could come in and contribute right away. Might not be a starter, but could come in and make an impact in some kind of way. And with how the Saints been drafting and evaluating talent over the years in the Sean Payton era, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to get 7 players that's going to really come in and play big time for us. So, like I say, Mickey Loomis, keep willing and dealing. Keep doing your thing. I'm right there with you, man. I'm feeling every trade, all these transactions we making. I'm behind it. I mean, there's no deal we made thus far that I didn't agree with. A lot of people want to know, what we going to do with the receiver position. Because right now, left on the roster, all we have is Marcus Colston, Brandon Cooks, Nick Toon, and Jalen Saunders. I know on paper that doesn't look good. But I think, by the time the season starts, we're going to have this roster. We're going to have our receivers intact and have a good receiving core put together. Colston, I mean, a lot of people was like, why we brought him back, especially after the season he had. But you got to think about it, man. Colston one of those people that has to retire as a Saint. I can't see him in another uniform. He's the all-time receiving touchdown leader in Saints history. He took a $5 million pay cut. $5 million. I don't know if I could have did that. So with him doing that, the Saints had to bring him back, man. You know what I'm saying? Colston is a real loyal citizen to the city of New Orleans. I really like him. Now, I do think the Saints need to reduce his role. He doesn't need to be a number 1, a number 2 option anymore. I think Father Time is caught up with him. And I think he only need to come in like on third down situations and things like that. But I definitely like the move of keeping him, especially after him restructuring that contract. Brandon Cooks, there's no secret that this guy is a speedster and a playmaker. You saw that before he got hurt with the thumb injury. So I like that deal. I like the situation with him. Nick Toon, to be honest with you, the Saints need to part ways with Nick Toon. I mean, Nick Toon has let me down time after time. I believed in him coming out of Wisconsin, but he hasn't shown up like I thought he can. I mean, the ball tears his chest up. He doesn't catch with his hands. I mean, he seemed like he's nervous in the game, like he's lost or something like that. I think they need to part ways with him and get that spot to somebody else. Jalen Saunders, that's the guy we got from the Jets last year that was doing the kickoff returns and punt returns, who really impressed me in special teams. I think he's gonna have a roster spot for sure on a 53-man roster next season
just by his return specialist, by being a return specialist. He doesn't need to be in the passing game. I mean, unless you're doing a reverse or something like that, because he's another one that lets the ball tear his chest up too. I don't know how some of these guys get in the league not being able to catch the ball with their hands. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me, but that's another story. Two guys to keep an eye out on off the practice squad. Brandon Coleman, 6'6" receiver. They got a lot of hype about this guy. They saying he's supposed to be the next Marcus Colston, so see. We'll see about that. And Santavius Jones, 6'3" receiver. From what I'm hearing from a lot of different people, they're saying Santavius Jones is supposed to be the best receiver out of the two. They say he's more consistent with catching the ball. He's more ready to play in the NFL right now. They say Brandon Coleman is still a little raw, and he's not consistent enough catching the ball. So that's two guys to watch out for coming up this season. I believe they brought them up from the practice squad, and now they're on the roster now. So we're going to see them in training camp and OTAs, mini camp, things like that. I think that's two guys that could possibly be key contributors to next season. And I know in the draft we're going to have to address receiver at some point. Like I said, I've been saying this all along. At the 13th pick, we have to take a pass rusher. Whoever's the best pass rusher available at the 13th pick, that's who we have to take. Now, that 31st pick that we got from Seattle, one guy I would really want us to take is Dorian Green Beckham out of Missouri. This guy is a flat-out stud. I've been watching him since high school. They comparing this guy to Calvin Johnson. His problem is his off-the-field issues. You know, he got kicked off the team, kicked out of the university and things like that. So he got a lot of off-the-field issues. And research and history shows that Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton doesn't like to deal with guys with them off-the-field issues. So I think that's kind of a stretch that they might even he's probably not even on our draft board. But, I mean, that's a guy I'll take a chance on, man. Especially at the 31st pick. I mean, that's just me. Another guy, probably in the second round, I'll take a look at. Maybe even the third round. Auburn receiver Sammy Coates. Another big-time receiver. He proved to be a big-time receiver for Auburn, catching over 1,000 yards last season for Auburn. I really like him. He has a lot of upside, too, man. Big-time receiver in my mind. Jalen Strong. Another big-time receiver. I think he's like 6'3", 6'4", out of Arizona State. I seen this guy catch the ball at his highest point time after time throughout the season, just mossing people all day long in the Pac-12. So I don't think he's really that fast. So that's why I think that's somebody we should look at like second or third round also. And Devin Smith, the receiver out of Ohio State, made a whole bunch of clutch catches for Cardell Jones and J.T. Barrett, man, for the Buckeyes, man. I really like him. And I really think he's kind of equivalent to Kenneth Stills. He reminds me of Kenneth Stills. He's fast. He catches all the tough catches down the field. And he just a good route running, and he has good hands. Hardly saw him drop a ball down there in Ohio State. So that's a guy I think we should look at too. But all in all, I really like what the Saints doing. Y'all, like I say, relax. The Saints know what they're doing, man. We willing and dealing, man. Keep on willing and dealing, Mickey Loomis. I love what you're doing. And I'm going to say this. And I know this is going to disturb a lot of people. But do not be surprised if the Saints draft Jameis Winston. I know that's disturbing a lot of people. But hear me out. Jameis Winston met with 5 teams, you know, at the scouting combine. The Saints were one of them. And, you know, at first a lot of people was like, why the Saints met with him? I mean, it's not like we could pick him. But for what I'm hearing, now this is not concrete. It's not written in stone. They saying the Saints might mess around and trade that 13th and 31st pick to the Bucks to move up to that first spot to draft Jameis Winston. They say Sean Payton was blown away with his understanding and his IQ of the game when he met with him at the combine. And Sean Payton and Jimbo Fisher's real good friends. You know, Jimbo Fisher is one of the better offensive minds in college football. And he's been raving about Jameis Winston, saying how smart he is and how he's one of the best quarterbacks he's ever coached and one of the smartest quarterbacks he's ever coached. So I think the Saints is kind of considering this. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the Saints are kind of considering this, I think. And I think that with us getting all those picks, I think that's what's making me kind of starting to think that this is a real possibility that they could trade up to that first pick to pick Jameis Winston. And I'm not saying that's what we should do, so don't get this misconstrued. I'm just saying it's a possibility. And if it happened, Would I be upset? I can't say I would be upset, but I would be a little on edge, because if you do something like that, it better work. I mean, you do that. You trade away Drew Brees, who's won a Super Bowl for you, and you pick Jameis Winston, it better work. That's all I gotta see. I don't have the nuts to make a deal like that. Me personally, I'm sticking with Drew. You know, I know he tearing us up for the $25 million on the cap, but you know, I'm sticking with Drew. So you heard it here first. So if that deal goes down, don't be surprised. I want to get y'all feedback on this. What y'all think about this Kenny Stills trade, and you know, what receivers y'all like in the draft that y'all think the Saints could possibly pick at that 31st selection or in the second or third round. So y'all give me a lot of feedback on that, man. Comment on that for me. It's the G-Spot, man. Y'all keep tuning in, man. Who that? This is one of my favorite times of the year. It's March Madness time. Who gonna cut down the Nets? Who gonna win that natty? Who gonna survive in that van? Man, that's what it's all about, man. I love this, man. Everybody picking their brackets, thinking they know what they talking about. You know, everybody think they bracket gonna win. Like me, I did 3 of them. And one of my brackets, I got Wisconsin winning it all. That's my number 1 bracket. That's the bracket I really feel like that's gonna win it. I know Wisconsin not a sexy pick, but I just think Coach O'Brien is due a national championship. I think he gonna win that natty for the first time in his career. He's been so close at getting to the Final Four, and always had a good team every year. Always fundamentally sound. Always well coached. Always have a good team, but just never could seal a deal. I think this is his year. In my second bracket, I got Virginia winning it all. That's if Justin Anderson is healthy. I know he got a hand injury, so I think that that's been kind of holding them back, and that's why they lost the last 2 games of the regular season and in the ACC tournament. And in my third bracket, I got Kentucky winning it all. This is my bracket that I really don't think that's going to win, but I just put it in there just, hey, what the hell. Now, I know that might sound like I'm hating on Kentucky, because you know why? I don't think they're going to win it all. I seriously doubt it. Now, I think they're a great team, but I'm trying to figure out why everybody's saying, you know, they just a lock to win it all. Yeah, don't get me wrong. They're a great team. They went 34-0. That was really impressive. I'm not taking nothing from them. And they are one of the deepest teams I've ever seen in college basketball. I mean, they got like 2 starting lineups for real. But I'm not sold on their guard play, man. And Jay Billis say this every year. He say the team with the best guard play usually win a national championship. I'm not sold on their guard play. The Harrison twins, suspect to me. The only guard that they have that I'm really impressed with, that I think that can make plays in clutch situations, is Tyler Ulis. And when I say clutch situations, I don't mean shooting jumpers, catch and shoot. I'm talking about creating off the dribble, breaking a press, making plays for your teammates. That's what I'm talking about. Because I know y'all want to say one of the Harrison twins hit some big shots last year. Yeah, in a catch and shoot situation he did. I'm talking about making plays with the ball in your hand for your teammates and for yourself, creating and things like that, and on the defensive end. So Tyler Ulis is the only guard they have that I'm really sold on. Booker, catch and shoot. Harrison twins, catch and shoot. They're not explosive at all to me. I mean, the thing about Kentucky that everybody is impressed with, and that everybody really should be talking about, is their front court, because that's the beauty of their team. They have so much length. I mean, they got an NBA front court for real. I mean, with Carly Stein and Karl Towns. Now, I got some friends of mine. I ain't gonna say their name, but you know who you are. They say Kentucky is the best team ever assembled in the history of college basketball. Man, that's absurd, bro. That's absurd. How you just gonna disrespect the Fab Five like that? How you just gonna disrespect that UNLV team with Stacey Augmon, aka the Plastic Man, and Larry Johnson? How you just gonna disrespect them teams like that? I think what people doing, they being prisoners of the moment. Yeah, prisoners of the moment. Now, if they cut down the Nets, we could possibly put them in that discussion, because that means you ran the table the whole season, regular season, conference tournament, and the NCAA tournament. So then I think people could kind of start saying they might be the best team ever assembled, but that hasn't happened yet. And me personally, I think there are 3 teams that could possibly knock Kentucky off. One of them, Maryland. Maryland can meet up with them in that Sweet 16 matchup. I think Maryland can knock Kentucky off. People sleeping on Maryland because they ain't playing on TV that much this year. A lot of people don't know about them. Maryland is a pretty good team. I'm not saying they're better than Kentucky, but I think they can beat Kentucky if they catch Kentucky on a B+ night. Notre Dame. Notre Dame is another team. Runs that 4-guard, 1 big man system. Everybody on the court can shoot. Which you could spread Kentucky out, take some of the big man away from the goal. So now you don't have that many rim protectors at the goal. Notre Dame is a team I think could possibly knock off Kentucky too. My third team is who I got winning the national championship in my first bracket, Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin matches up real good with Kentucky. So, I'm like I said, I'm just not sold on Kentucky winning it all, and they just got to prove me wrong. So I want to hear y'all thoughts about this crazy statements that some of my friends been making about they the best college basketball team ever assembled. I want to know y'all thoughts on that, what y'all think, and who y'all think is the best team ever assembled in college basketball. So give me y'all take on that, man. I got a March Madness pool I started. I do this every year. First place winner take all $10 a bracket. Make sure your money and your brackets submitted before the first game Thursday. No exceptions. Well, like I say, winner take all $10 a bracket. You could do up to the 10 brackets. The name of the group is Paid in Full 15. If you're trying to get in the bracket, if you're trying to get in the group, it's a password you need. So holler at me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or if you got my phone number, hit me up, and I'll give you the password to it. Let's go, man. It's one of my favorite times of the year. Survive in advance, baby. I like rooting for the home team, bro. But the Pelicans, I mean, as soon as you get your hopes up for the Pelicans, they just let you down. Yesterday, they lose to the Denver Nuggets in double overtime. I mean, that shouldn't have happened yesterday. That was a bad loss. Especially when Wilson Chandler, Randy Foye, and Darryl Arthur didn't play for the Nuggets. That's 3 big-time contributors for them. And y'all lost to these people? Man, you can't lose to them people when them 3 people don't play. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. This is why the Pelicans gonna have a hard time getting in the playoffs, because you lose to teams like this. You know what I'm saying? They beat the Grizzlies, you beat the Bulls, you beat these good teams, but then you come back and lose to the Nuggets. I mean, Anna Davis, I have nothing bad to say about you. You play your part every night. Last night, Anna Davis had 36, 14, 7, and 9. I mean, dude is straight ill. This dude's sick with it, bro. I mean, if he wouldn't hurt so much of the year, he'll be right up there in the MVP conversation, bro. This dude would be straight carrying his team night after night after night. That's sick numbers. 36, 14, 7, and 9. And then Tyreke Evans had a good game, too. He came and had 25, 10, and 9. You know what I'm saying? Tyreke and Anna Davis are doing their part. It's just the other people, like Eric Gordon, who had 16 points, but he shot 5 for 18 from the field. You know what I'm saying? I think not having Ryan Anderson, it's kind of hurting them a little bit, but they still got a good enough roster to make the playoffs in my mind. I'm going to tell y'all what I think the problem is, and I've been saying it all year. Monty Williams. Monty Williams is the problem. You know, watching the association on NBA TV when they give you the inside look on the Pelicans with Monty Williams talking to the team in practice and at halftime during games and at timeouts, he just don't do it for me. I think he's a good excellent and O's coach, but as far as like motivating his team and getting his team ready to play, I don't think that's one of his fortes. I think he'll be a great assistant coach, but Monty Williams doesn't do it for me. I think the Pelicans, that's where they lacking at. I think they lacking a great leader in the coaching area. I mean, I like Monty Williams as a person, but being last time I checked, being a good person doesn't win ball games. And I would love to see the Pelicans getting that 8th spot, man, getting the playoffs, because that would do so much for the city, bro. Especially with the Saints not making the playoffs this season. But and they need to take advantage, especially with the fact that Kevin Durant ain't been playing for the Thunder, and now Serge Ibaka is out he's out with his knee surgery. They got to take advantage while these 2 people are out for the Thunder, because it's between the Thunder and the Pelicans for this 8th spot. I know Westbrook is playing out his mind, and I want to get big ups to Westbrook, bro. At first, it was between James Harden, and Steph Curry for the MVP. But I'm going to tell y'all something. Man, Westbrook I think he didn't climb to that first spot. You know what? I take that back. I'm not going to say he's to that first spot. If he gets that Thunder team into the playoffs, there's no doubt in my mind, Russell Westbrook is the MVP of the league. I'm sorry. I mean, the rampage he's been on since KD been hurt, I mean, I don't think I ever seen something like this. As far as like with the triple doubles and how he just been dominating games like this, man. The dude is playing out his mind. So, at first I had James Harden number 1 on my list. I think he's probably 2A and Steph Curry is 2B. But if Westbrook gets his team in the playoffs, he is definitely my MVP. And I'm a big time James Harden fan, and I'm a big time Rockets fan, so I'm biased toward James Harden. But real is real. And Russell Westbrook is playing like the best player on the planet right now. So give me y'all thoughts on that, man. Who y'all think, should be the MVP right now? And if y'all think if Russell Westbrook get his team in the playoffs, should he be the MVP? And tell me what y'all think about the Pelicans as far as keeping Monty Williams. If y'all think Monty Williams is a problem, or y'all think it's a roster problem, as far as, inside the team with the players they got on that roster. So y'all let me know. That's my take on the Pelicans. Like I said, I would love to see the Pelicans get in the playoffs, bro. I think that'd be good for Anthony Davis. And you kind of want to get in the playoffs, bro, because he about to be up for a contract soon. You want to give him some kind of positivity going into the future, bro. And not making the playoffs, bro, that'll make him feel like he need to go elsewhere with his talents, bro. And New Orleans I repeat, they can't lose him. They do not need to lose him. I'm telling y'all, that's going to be equivalent to losing Chris Paul. You got Anthony Davis, he's a 22-year-old stud. Man, this dude got so much left. This dude ain't even in his prime yet. And that's crazy to see. They better make it happen, man. Tom Benson, they better make it happen. They better make sure this dude stay put. And I think we got to make sure this guy gets in the playoffs some kind of way. So Tyreek, Eric Gordon, Norris Cole, everybody on that roster needs to get themselves and raise their level. Because that's the only way they're going to get in the playoffs. Because obviously the numbers he's putting up, it still ain't good enough for them to win the close ball games. Y'all holler at me. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. It's the G-Spot. I'm here with Fred Brown. Just signed a national letter of intent with Purdue University like a couple weeks ago. Man, tell me what made you choose Purdue to spend the rest of your 4 years, man.
I just felt like when I went up on the campus, took my visit or whatever. I took visit to other places, and it just no other visit felt like that one. Like all the coaches were genuine, and I felt like that's where I wanted to spend my next 4 or 5 years. I felt like all of the facilities they had was gonna help me excel and progress in everything I was doing.
Right. Tell me what you're gonna be majoring in.
I'm gonna be majoring in chemical engineering.
All right. What made you choose that major?
Cause it was like, well, my mind was on the league first of all.
Right.
If I had to fall back on something, I still want the money. I still want to go with the money.
Give me some short-term goals you got for yourself going into your freshman year.
First of all, I want to make sure I want to start off strong with my GPA. I want to make sure all my grades right. I want to make sure I'm making all A's and B's.
Right.
And then on the field, I'm probably gonna redshirt whatever, and I want to make sure I'm in the best physical ability that I could possibly be in before I step foot on the field, whatever.
All right. Tell me about your recruiting process. Like, kind of tell me about some of the schools you visited, and tell me about some of the experiences on them visits that you took.
All right, I went to Southern Miss. I went to A-State. I went to Tech, and that's when I went on Tech. That was like my first college visit or whatever, and I committed because that was my first offer.
Right.
So I committed, and I felt like after a while when all the other offers started coming in, I felt like I rushed myself, whatever.
Right.
Because I went on a visit, everything was all agreeable. It was like I was seeing everything, and everything had me want to say yes. Like I wanted to just say yes to everything.
Right.
And it's like I got caught up in all of it, but I really felt like I rushed myself when everything else started falling in place. Like it was supposed to.
So how was it in West Lafayette in Indiana? I know it's cold up there. Tell me about the city. Like how was that visit going up there like in that cold weather?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like I liked everything about it, and it was cold or whatever, but that's it's cold everywhere. Everywhere have its season. Everywhere it get hot, it get cold.
Right.
You just gotta learn to deal with what you got. What you got going.
All right. Tell me about some camps that you went to, like going into your sophomore, junior year, that kind of got your name out there to the colleges, and trying to talk about how much publicity they gave you.
Yeah, well, I got my first camp invite when I was a sophomore.
Okay.
So I went to that one. It was a little prep camp. I did my bench max out. We did our 40s. We did our shuttle and all that. And it got put on the internet or whatever.
Right.
So that kind of helped. Like with the college coaches, because like they don't really. Not a lot of college coaches really go out no more. They look for things on the internet. They looking for like your huddle and all that.
Right.
So, and they had some film from the camp or whatever.
Okay.
And they put it on the internet, so it kind of helped us get out there. It helped get our names out there.
Right.
To the coaches.
And I know it was pretty competitive with all the top players in the nation being there.
Yeah, it is. It's like you seeing yourself, like you might be unranked or whatever, and you see somebody who ranked, and you see like what they're doing. You seeing like what their numbers looking like, and you seeing where you want to be.
Right.
You saying you want to be up there with them, or you want to be better than them. And you got to work to get better numbers.
Right.
Work harder than them to get a better score or whatever.
It sounds like a hell of an experience, man.
Yeah.
Kind of tell me, give me some advice that you would give to like an 8th, 9th grader, that wants to sign a scholarship on signing day like you did, and be able to make the grades that you did to be able to sign a scholarship as far as your ACT school and your cumulative. Kind of what kind of advice would you give to an 8th, 9th grader that will be in the position that you are in at this moment, being able to go play Big Ten football?
Yeah, it's a lot about how you start off. You gotta come in focus. You gotta come in focus on the field and off the field. You gotta come in. You gotta make sure your grades right, because the first 2 years is gonna be your most important. Because you don't want to play catch up in your junior, senior year, or whatever. Because when you start taking that ACT, most people start taking the ACT around their junior or senior year. And once you find, it's going to be hard when you find out that your GPA not high enough.
Right.
When you're trying to get that high score on the ACT, and the ACT not easy. So, and it's hard to raise your GPA up. And you got to have a certain core GPA to sign a Division I scholarship.
Right.
And you got to make sure that's right. And that got to balance out with whatever ACT score you got. They got to all balance out together. And you just got to make sure you focus on the field. You doing what you got to do. You working hard. You doing whatever you could do to make yourself as best as you could be.
All right. Nah, I know you played D-tag. I peeped y'all this year. With the games when you played Destrin, you seem like you was real disruptive, like you didn't take no plays off, and that's really hard to find when you watching D-tackles, especially at the high school level. A lot of guys take plays off, like you had a high motor. That's something that really, really impressed me about you. What's some D-tackles that's in the NFL that you kind of feel like you emulate your game around, that kind of you feel like when you get to that level, you could be playing the same kind of style that they play?
Yeah, I look up to Anthony Johnson, he came out of LSU, he playing for Miami Dolphins right now. And I look up to Geno Atkins a lot too.
Geno Atkins and Andy Johnson, that's two big names, that's two disruptive D-tackles that play the game really, really hard. So going into your freshman year playing Big Ten football, do you have anything that you're concerned about going into your freshman year? Anything you kind of, you kind of got questions about?
Yeah, not really. I'm just trying to I just want to make sure I get my feet wet in the summer by taking summer classes, so I can see what my class is gonna be
right.
And try to get a lot of that out the way. Try to make sure so when I get on campus, it won't be as hard on me because I got some classes out the way and I see what it's gonna be feeling like.
All right. Man, I'm here with Fred Brown, man, Purdue University commit, man. Appreciate you taking the time out with me, man. Do this segment with me. Just make sure you give me some Purdue apparel going forward. Yeah. And I'm going to be peeping y'all here going forward too, man. So make sure you do your thing out there, man. All right. Fred Brown, man, Purdue commit, Jeremiah Gray, man. G-Spot, we signing out.